All right, we're going to try this again, answering comments. I think it's been going really well. I've enjoyed it. I hope y'all have. I know we've gotten a lot of great comments in the comments section on this, and we seem to be really developing a community here. Absolutely love this. So we're going to get started here. The only issue is we've been getting so many comments, which is great. It means the channel is growing, and we're having a great time in the comment section, but it's getting harder and harder for me to respond to every one of them. So this week, we actually got somebody to go through the comments and kind of pull the top comments, compile them into a list, and we're going to go through those. And there was actually one particular comment that got the person that was going through them so excited that this person called me and was like, "You never guess what this comment is." And then I got excited. I've gone ahead and responded to it on YouTube. The Hound and the Fox commented on our reaction to The Sound of Silence featuring Adam Chance, and that's just absolutely fantastic. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the Hound and the Fox taking their time to let me know that they enjoyed the video and enjoy other reactors reacting to their music. They didn't have to do that. And I just cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. It thrills me to no end that they actually have watched the videos that we've reacted to their songs, and it's just really great. I'm going to read their comment here, and I've already responded to this on YouTube. The Hound the Fox says, "Brother, you're an absolute treat to watch. Thank you so much for all the lovely." That's sun just came out here. It's getting a little hard to read. "Lovely and glowing kindness about our music. So much fun to watch people enjoy our hard work and art. Sorry about any weird copyright issues you face. We promise it's not coming from us." And I appreciate that. Thank y'all so much again. And y'all are absolutely fantastic. I've loved everything I've heard from y'all, and will definitely be checking out more. Appreciate that so much. All right, so we got a lot of suggestions this week, which is great. We need them, and I'm going to be pulling at least one, maybe two of these suggestions to record tomorrow, because I'm going to be recording 3 songs. I've already got one. It's going to be the voice play Little Mermaid melody, so I need 2 more. And the suggestions, B-Dubs sent us a bunch of suggestions. Thank you, B-Dubs, so much for this. One of which was Amos Lee, and we've already talked a little bit about that on Patreon, that I already know a couple of Amos Lee albums, but I think I'm going to dive deeper into his catalog and listen to some more recent stuff from him, and maybe put the whole thing on Patreon, pull a couple of tracks for YouTube. So appreciate that, B-Dubs, and all of the other suggestions that you had. Arlen Schumer says, lots of great info. No, Arlen Schumer says, this is the person that compiled it. She said they put lots of great info. I'll go back and read that. Arlen Schumer posted a link to Prove It All Night, Bruce Springsteen Live. Twink, who is a regular viewer of the channel, also sent a link to a Prove It All Night Live. We'll be checking that out. Veronica Thunder, another regular viewer of the channel, suggested Bruce, The Wild Ends of the E Street Shuffle. I listened to that one already, Veronica, and let me tell you, it was absolutely fantastic. One of the best albums I have ever heard in my life. Unfortunately, it's a Patreon exclusive because the songs on there are just too long, and there's really no hit singles on there. And I really couldn't even begin to get the tracks on YouTube without some serious editing and trying to get around the censors. Because one thing about Bruce Springsteen songs, if they're not paused every 30 seconds, they get auto-blocked worldwide, and it's just a giant headache. Grand Hawk says, try Fade to Black from Metallica. Okay, I'll put that on the list. Jean Lynn says, please react to another amazing talent, Marcelito Pornoy, as he sings The Prayer. Okay, I'll check that out. And I'm probably fixing to butcher this name all over the place. I'm going to say Talika Hamulhitru, and again, I probably just murdered that to bits, has a list of Metallica suggestions here on the softer side, because I said that's what I preferred. Fade to Black, Sanitarium, Welcome Home, The Unforgiven, The Outlaw Torn, Bleeding Me, and a couple of instrumentals, Orion and To Live Is to Die. Okay, I'll put those on the list. On our answering comments from last week, Carol Burnett, another regular viewer of the channel, says, I thought that I had never liked Metallica until I actually started listening. Nothing else matters. Enter Sandman and The Unforgiven are a little softer, and I had liked these songs without knowing they were by Metallica. Yes, check out Gordon Lightfoot's Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I appreciate your efforts to do these videos and kind of just talk to everyone. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Yeah, I've heard of that song, but I haven't checked it out, so I'll definitely put that one on the list. And we've got some great Metallica suggestions. Veronica Thunder again says, Miami Steve is another name for Little Steven. Yeah, after I recorded that last video, I thought, wait a minute, I bet that's another nickname for him that I just don't know. I actually think that's what Bruce usually calls him. Interesting. I had so high expectations on the Traveling Wilburys. How could a band full of such good singers be other than awesome? But I too felt their music didn't really speak to me like their solo work did. I basically said the same thing last week, although I'm thinking about going and checking it out some more, see if my opinion's changed. That was so long ago, though. Tom Petty is one of my favorite artists. Perhaps I expected more of his sound and couldn't adapt. When it comes to Pete Seeger, I think that his little box is hilarious. Highly recommend it. Okay, gotcha. I know Pete Seeger. I don't know a lot of his material, but that sounds like a good one to check out. Ellen Reiser, another regular viewer of the channel. Great to hear from Ellen. Look, you have a face. And I have even more of a face this week because I completely shaved everything off last night, although I've now already got a complete layer of stubble on there. Big fan of Metallica's Black Album. I saw them live on the Black Album tour. Best concert ever. Ellen actually, I commented this on Patreon too. Ellen's one of our patrons, and appreciate all of our patrons. One of the only albums where I love every single song. Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell is another. I have never really deep dove into Meatloaf either, although I know the title track from that song. Favorite Amy Winehouse song is Rehab. Yeah, I know Rehab, but not a huge fan of hers. Love some Nina Simone though. Reactors introduce people to new artists. I'll bet 25% of voice play GC fans came from the charismatic voice reactions. Interesting. Artists benefit from what you guys do. Keep it up. Thanks, Alan. I appreciate that. And I agree. I mean, I've been introduced to artists from reaction videos. Before I ever started doing this, there were people I never heard of that I saw reactions to and checked out the reactions video, and then I know this artist now. That's absolutely. Here's B-Dubs once again. The beard's trimmed back to respectable Kenny Loggins length. Much better. That was great, B-Dubs. That's one of my favorite comments so far here. Yeah, and this week it's completely gone, although I will be growing it back out and keeping it to about the Kenny Loggins length, maybe a little shorter through the warmer months. Racing 2 Cat, another great viewer of the channel, says, hey Cole, nice trim, thank you. I'm going to echo a couple of comments below. Gordon Lightfoot is an incredible singer-songwriter, and the wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald is just haunting. Metallica's Black Album is amazing. You definitely need to go there. So everybody's saying I need to check out that Black Album, but Nothing Else Matters is the least heavy song on the album. Okay, it may end up being a little too heavy for me, though, because, see, Enter Sandman is too heavy for me. Even though I appreciate the musicianship and the artistry of it, it's not really my cup of tea. It's a little bit on the harder side. And here's a great bridge to Bob Seger. Metallica did a metal version of Turn. I actually know that one, and I do like their version of Turn the Page, their cover of Seger's Turn the Page. Enjoying these little chats, also enjoying a little cooler weather a little further south, Cat. Yeah, and by this time, it's now back up to like 80 something today. I think it's supposed to be like 83 here, and I'm sure you're probably experiencing the same thing in Baton Rouge. Brenda Sorensen, another regular viewer of the channel, says, thanks for the shout out. Now I'll have to listen to your reaction to the Roger Miller song. One of my favorite Roger Miller songs is from Disney's Robin Hood. Not a Nottingham's a sad song, but beautiful vocals, good storytelling. I love that song. I think I've said this before on some video. Robin Hood is still, I don't watch a lot of cartoons now unless I'm watching with my kids, but Robin Hood is still, somebody asked me to say my 4 favorite Disney animated films of all time. Robin Hood would be in that, definitely. I wore that VHS out when I was about 3-4 years old. But yeah, great song. I love the soundtrack to that. Veronica Thunder once again says, sorry for commenting this much. No, keep the comments coming. Never apologize for commenting. Have you heard of Woody Guthrie? Yes. I know Woody Guthrie he's a legend. Huge inspiration and sort of mentor for Bob Dylan, I think. And Lead Belly, I didn't know that he was a mentor, but I knew he was an inspiration. Lead Belly, yes, I've heard of Lead Belly. They had great impact on American folk music, 100%. There's an album released in 1989, I think, called Folkways, A Vision Shared. Consists of music by these two, covered by Bob Dylan, Springsteen, John Mellencamp, Willie Nelson. Wow, that sounds fantastic. I've never heard of that. Woody's son, Arlo. I do know Arlo Guthrie. Emmylou Harris, yeah, I do know Emmylou as well. I recommend that one. I will definitely check that out now. That sounds like a great one to do. Okay, on the Home Free Sing Off Ring of Fire reaction video, Dagmar S., another great viewer of the channel, says, love this version of Ring of Fire from the Sing Off. After this song, you knew that they had won the competition, hands down. You can see how talented they were already back then. Hard to believe they have only gotten better. Tim is a true bass who sounds natural going low. It does not look like it takes any effort. He blew the judges away with his super low note. Adam's beatbox and stellar as always. Love how humble the guys are in support of each other. No divas in this group. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with all that. They're absolutely fantastic. C. Mitchell, another regular viewer of the channel. While personally not a huge fan of Johnny Cash or the song, the guys did a stellar job. For many, this performance may have had them in the top spot to win, but I enjoyed their upcoming songs more. Fortunately, you noted the prowess of each member, while the judges limit their acknowledgments to Tim and Austin. And here's, excuse me, everybody. That was Mike, and he just did something really bad to my computer. Great. Unbelievable. I hope he just did. Okay, there it is. All right. Sorry, everybody. That was Mycroft, a.k.a. Mike, the cat. Love him to death, but sometimes he likes to get all up in your face and in your business. Where was I? Fortunately, you know the prowess of each member. While the judges limit their acknowledgments to Tim and Austin, which has been mentioned in other commentary, unfortunate they couldn't have been a bit more even-handed in their nods. Home Free is currently performing in Australia. Wow! While Austin and Amberly arrived well in advance, seems others flew in shortly before their first appearance with how they've handled their packed touring schedule in the past. Now, there's jet lag, but I'm sure the guys will give 110%. Wow, yes, some great info. And yeah, all the guys are great, and the judges do seem to just focus in on Tim and Austin, which is a shame. Bill McDonald says, the story I heard was that they discovered there was a niche not present and agreed to assume the country label. The founders, being from Minnesota, hardly had country overtones. And I didn't even realize until these last few videos that, is it Rob and the Rupp brothers are actually from Minnesota, and then you got also from Georgia, Tim from Texas. And that's hilarious because my first experience with Home Free was as a country group, which is why I got a little hot water with the home fries for some of my commentary on my personal preferences with country music. But yes, it's crazy that they're from Minnesota. Elizabeth Ross says, I noticed when I watched the show in 2013 that Home Free was the only group who showcased their bass singers, even voice play, who competed the same season, not put Jeff forward at all. I've been a Home Free fan ever since, going on 10 years now. They really brought something new to acapella and with great talents. Yeah, and the thing about Jeff, my understanding is Jeff, and you can really hear it even when he's talking in some of the interviews and stuff on the show, he doesn't really have that tone yet, and a lot of people have said that Tim actually helped him develop a little bit more of that bass stuff, and then he went his own route and developed a low bass or tone. So I don't know, maybe at this point Tim may have been the only bass out of the whole competition that could really showcase that range, because I don't think Jeff was quite there yet. Lisa Severance says they weren't country, but when they auditioned, 2 or 3 of their songs were country because they were popular songs and they did in their shows. The show got really excited and suggested that they just go country, which actually was a good idea, but that explains why they're able to cover any type of song if they want to. They were also asked to dress and look country, which to the producers meant facial hair for some reason. So the guys all grew their beards, even Adam, though I don't think Adam kept it very long after the show. I would think that perhaps the facial hair would interfere with his beatboxing since he has the mic so close to his face. That's actually a valid point, because I just shaved off a giant massive beard, and it was getting to the point like whenever I talked, it was muffling my words, and the air was like hitting the hair and bouncing off. So yeah, that's a great point there. I don't think the show tended to focus just on Tim and Austin due to the uniqueness of their voices. I don't think they ever singled out Chris. And with Rob and Adam, it was just a few times. I get it, the vocals of Tim and Austin would really catch the audience's ears, but there are so many times I just kept thinking, did you hear the same song I just did? What about Rob or Adam or Chris? Yeah, and I do agree, Austin and Tim are really something special, but yeah, the other guys are absolutely incredible as well. Pam Forrester, Pam, one of our most frequent commenters and viewers, says, I love this song and I'm shocked how well they did. I truly didn't think after hearing Cash sing it, I could be impressed this much with someone else. Appreciate the work you do as always. Thanks, Pam. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a fantastic version. Brenda Grothler, I believe it says, after this song, I felt they nailed the competition. Yeah, it was a great performance. Nancy Holter says, I love the look that passes between Rob and Austin as they are anticipating Tim's drop. I didn't catch that. Carol Burnett, again, says, Tim had literally been running from country music, and Austin was all for it. I'm glad they made the choice they did. Their history is interesting, and I'm glad that Chris got them to record their history. Yeah, absolutely. Angela Mason said, first time I watched a performance for TV, hearing Adam's funky beatbox on this. My personal favorite performance of all time on this show was when they sing Tim's original song. I've seen backstage because it was the first time on the show I heard Chris Rupp, my favorite tenor, sing some lead vocals. And I still haven't heard a lot from Chris, actually. Lazy Lady says, this performance was a turning point in their career. It was a deviation from the previous performance in its creativity and daring. They left their comfort level pushed by the show's challenges. They began to understand more fully the extent of their abilities. Although they were successful in touring the country, performing at state fairs and corporate events, and being guest entertainers on cruises with a loyal fan base, they weren't accessing their full abilities, partly due to them limiting themselves by being grateful that they could earn a living by performing with friends, and that they enjoyed being with. Home Free Ear and the Sing-Off never expected to win. They merely expected to be on the show a few episodes as the token country group, get some national exposure briefly, and return to their professional touring, which is kind of actually what happened to Voice Play, minus being the token country group. It wasn't until they did Ring of Fire they realized that they could possibly win the contest. They then started to be more creative in their performances, exposing more of their talent. They didn't totally understand the impact that the Sing-Off had on their career at first. Pentatonics, as the finale guest performance, warned the acapella finalists to be prepared for a major change in their lives. Home Free, however, went to pick up their professional career where they had interrupted. However, the show had changed them unexpected from being, there's some typos here, from being something key group of basically unknown performers. They were thrust into a new higher level of more public figures. They were suddenly more well-known with a rapidly expanding fan base. Yeah, that's good observations, good history there. T.R. Smith says, absolutely prefer this version over the video that has Avi in it. They don't need anyone else. Okay, so Avi guested on one. Interesting. Somebody may have told me that in the comment section. Baby Fry, another great video channel, said, yeah, love this. That low note by Tim was something. I love how Nick Lachey asked the judges, have you ever heard anyone sing that low before? Pretty interesting. I also noticed that Nick, next to the boys, looked small. He's not real tall, 5'9", I think. But next to the boys, he looked little. Good reaction. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Baby Fry. I did have a wonderful weekend. Hope you did and do this weekend as well. Thomas McDermott, if I got that right. Also, not to be missed is their face-off with Philharmonic. I think that's the name, a Filipino larger male ensemble in which the two groups were supposed to be trying to knock each other out while performing a song together, but they ended up doing so well together that they both advanced to the next round. They did I'm All Right, and it is a hoot and an excellent performance. Yeah, I think I've actually watched that one. I've watched if it was on this episode, I'd definitely watch because I watched the full sing-off. I can't remember all the performances because I've watched several episodes pretty much back to back to back over the last couple of weeks here. But yeah, everything I heard them was just fantastic. Yeah, I think that's the one. I think I remember that one they did because the judges were like, yeah, that was fan. Both of y'all did excellent, and they really have any criticism. Brenda Sorensen, another great viewer of the channel, says, I actually prefer this version than the one with Avi simply because Tim just has a natural country voice that fits the song. Avi doesn't sound country at all. Gotcha. Kevin Clements, Kevin, how's it going? Another great viewer of the channel. Cole, I think this was what won them the TV show. They solidified themselves as the group to beat. Yeah, they did. It was fantastic. Patrick Wowzik, if I mispronounced that. Patricia Wowzik, if I mispronounced that, I apologize. When they sing this live, Tim takes that last note even lower, and he makes us allow for it. I'll wait for it. Check it out live. There's a little typo there. Tammy Dodge. Tammy, Cole, you said you really like traditional country music. Can you do some Ricky Van Shelton, such as Statue of a Fool, the old Jack Green song, or Crime of Passion? I will put those on the list for sure because I don't know either one of those songs. So it sounds like that'd be good. Anita Wright says they killed this. Tim is so awesome. He can go so low and then so high. Rob, Austin, and Chris Rupp do the harmonies flawlessly. Adam with his beatboxing is par excellence. Greg Peacock says on Chris Rupp's channel he did a series of history of home free videos, and they talk about how they had been trying to get on Sing Off for several years but never got on. Then that year the producer suggested they go as a country a cappella band. None of them want to do it except Austin. That's a little bit different story than one I've heard. Thank goodness he was able to talk the others into it, because I heard there was a vote and it ended up being a 3-2, I think. All right, this is on the Voice Play Sing Off Don't You Forget About Me video. Alone Endeavor, another great video of the channel. Again, a judge who didn't like that they didn't stay to the original, another who didn't want them to make it their own, and all three praising Honey. Man, I'm so glad that they have chosen to be independent, create whatever the heck they want. Sound of Silence and Golden Hour are both wonderful. Little Mermaid is my second favorite medley. The first is Wicked. Thanks for staying on the train. Yeah, absolutely. They're just fantastic. And in my opinion, yeah, they definitely are better now than they were at that time. All right, Pam Forrester. Again, Pam says, I have never heard this song before, so I have nothing to compare it to, so I'll say it's a good song that they sang with a bit of a soulful twist. As always, thanks for the video commentary. Thanks, Pam. I appreciate that. On Springsteen, Blinded by the Light, Pam says, again, sadly, I'm old enough to remember the original. I think he nailed it. I've been surprised at myself for not getting back on the Bruce train sooner. He brought a layer of jive to it. As always, thank you for the video commentary. Thank you, Pam. Yeah, that was a great version. I'd never heard it. I didn't even know Springsteen wrote and originally did it. Racing 2 Cat again says, I've never heard this version before. Had I not known Springsteen, I would have sworn that opening was straight on Doobie Brothers. Absolutely. I'm also probably going to be the only one here to say I prefer the MM version. Don't shoot me. Likely because growing up with it. Sounds like the lyrics are the same. Great reaction, Cole. Thank you, Cat. Appreciate it. Kevin Clemens again. Kevin says, I've never heard this one. Manfred Mann's classic. I gotta wait one more day till I get paid. Let's see. I gotta wait one more day till I get paid, but I'll see if I can afford your Patreon. I think, Kevin, thanks, Kevin. And look, if you can, I totally understand. It's not everybody who wants to do it, not everybody can do it, but for those who want to and can, it's there, and we appreciate any support that we can get. Slice Let's Play says at 8:02 on the Bruce reaction, Blind by Light reaction, Bruce actually wrote the lyrics with a poetry book by picking randomly some rhymes from it he liked and putting them together. Yeah, I heard that. Somebody, I think on Patreon, told me that story. On the Metallica Nothing Else Matters video, Brenda S. Wolf, another regular viewer of the channel, says, when Voice Play's last song came out, I was thinking about Lane's violin, which was used in Warriors, and poof, here it was. I actually screamed with delight. When they tossed his violin to him, I had to also rewatch that catch multiple times, even back when I had incredible balance and confidence. I don't know if I would do that with a violin or flute, though I did sketchy stuff with my trumpet, LOL. So much fun waiting for your reaction for the violin and for this song. I appreciate that, Brenda. Thank you very much. Pam Forrester says, this was a surprise. As someone who's not much of a metal fan, I actually always like them. This is Metallica. They, like Springsteen, are an onion with many layers. They weren't afraid to go anywhere and had such a broad range of music, kind of something for everyone, even me. Love this song. What a voice, and agree with you about the kit. As always, thank you for the video and commentary. Thanks, Pam. I appreciate it. Racing 2 Cat says, great reaction, Cole. Thank you, Cat. I appreciate that. The Black Album is when Metallica broke into the mainstream and their hardcore fans started accusing them of selling out. Boo on them. I really like metal, so I won't just list my faves because I don't want your ears to bleed. My recommendations are 1, Unforgiven 1 and 2, Whiskey in the Jar, Memory Remains with Marianne Faithfull, and Lux Ertna, which is off their newest album. We may make you a headbanger yet, Cat. Maybe. Never say never. You never know. Carol Burnett says, I'm not a metal fan, although that's changing as I get older. Isn't that funny? Used to, metal was the cool thing to listen to when you were a kid. Now, some of the older people are looking at metal as like a classic thing and being like, hey, I like this metal. Anyway, so I have only one suggestion, which is Unforgiven. I didn't realize that I actually liked some Metallica until I heard the band name associated with the songs. I even listened to a little Disturbed now and then. Thanks, Cole. Thanks, Cole. I appreciate that. I'll just put that on the list. We've had that suggested a couple of times now. On the Roger Miller Plane, Uncle Harvey's Plane reaction, Tammy Dodge, who suggested this song, says, thanks, Cole. I knew this would be right up your alley. Kansas City Star is another great song of this trio. Love the reaction, and thanks for the shout-out. Absolutely, Tammy. Thank you for suggesting it. Loved it. Mark T says, I'd not heard this song before. Thanks for your reaction and for a new Roger Miller song. Have you ever listened to Glenn Campbell's Am I All Alone, or is it just me? The title sounds familiar. I don't think I've heard the song. I've never really gotten big into Glenn Campbell. I know some of his hits. It was on his last album. Adios, and was written by Roger Miller. Okay, Glenn's wife had a clip of Roger singing the opening, and they included it as an intro track to the song. This sounds great. After you mentioned the sound on this album, it put me in the mind of some of Tom T. Hall's early music. I don't know. I know who Tom T. Hall is. I haven't heard any of his songs I know of. I think more about John Henry, Ballad of 40 Bucks, and The Hitchhiker have similar sounds. I'm new to your reactions, so possibly you've already done all these. I haven't, so thank you so much. If not, I'd suggest the Glenn Campbell song and some Tom T. Hall. Great suggestions. I'll put them on the list. Michael Schuler says, check out The Devil Makes 3 did a cover of this song of Uncle Harvey's Plane, really, which until now didn't know it was a cover. LOL, great song. Of course this was a Roger Miller song. Makes sense. Thank you, Michael. I will go check those out. On the Agent Elvis reaction, Robert Northrop says, just found the channel and I'm digging what I've seen from you so far. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Great, honest analyses. Thank you. I might check this show out as I also love Elvis, but as soon as it goes too far, I'm probably out. Yeah, me too, man. And even some of the stuff in the trailer, I was just like, I actually had to bleep out and cut a couple of frames out to not avoid demonetization on YouTube, and it was already a little bit much for me. Some reaction recommendations. Ode to Billy Joe. Okay, I know Ode to Billy Joe. That's a classic. Son of Preacher Man, Dusty Springfield. Yeah, absolutely. For that matter, while we're talking Elvis, can I request a reaction or two of The King? Elvis sings a mean cover Dusty Springfield song live in Vegas. You Don't Have to Say You Love Me. Yeah, I know both versions, the original and that live version. Also love to hear your analysis of Steamroller Blues from 1973 Aloha concert. Yeah, unfortunately, I know all of those. I was raised on top 40 radio from the 50s, 60s, and some 70s. So it's really hard to find a well-known oldie, particularly Elvis, because I was raised in a very Elvis-centric household. So it's really hard for me to be able to react to stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's really the only bad thing about doing these reactions is I can't listen to a lot of the really great older songs because I already know all of them and was raised on a lot of them. But I appreciate your suggestions. And you never know, you might suggest one if you keep watching the channel, keep throwing out suggestions. You might hit on one, even an Elvis track that I don't know. This is from TLO. I've seen the first 2 episodes, really like it. It is very adult, okay? I asked in that video for people to tell me what they thought of the trailer, and the series is out now. William Quinlan says, lifelong serious Elvis fan here, and I love it. Really interesting. Enjoyed Elvis movies and content in the past, but too much of it was continually saccharine. Love the adult theme and the shout out to humorous Presley tropes. I think newer, younger audiences will flock to it. Interesting. Very interesting take there. Alice Duffy says, created for 18 to 22-year-olds. Awful. That's kind of what it looked like to me. It looked like it's more for a younger demographic that I'm not a part of. But we've had a couple of different Elvis fans here say they actually enjoyed it. On the Life is a Highway sing-off home free reaction, Debbie Norris says, seems like the majority of the reaction you gave reasons why you don't like country music. Okay, that was actually, yeah, kind of, but that was kind of a running gag and a reference back to my first home free reaction, in which I got in major trouble with the home fries. So that was kind of an in joke there with every time that I mentioned that. Teresa Cartwright says, I think Austin was dogging it a little, his degree in his musical theater, and I can't imagine such a course doesn't include dancing. And Adam Rupp has a great sense of rhythm. Wow, I didn't realize that he had a degree in musical theater. Very interesting. All right, on the Imagine Dragons Warriors video, this is an older video, few weeks anyway. Kerponen, this is a regular view of the channel, and if I'm mispronouncing that, I am so sorry. It says, this particular performance of voice play resides in a special room in my heart. The arrangement from the talented and quirky-minded Blaine speaks to me in such a deep level. I've listened to the original, and it just doesn't even come close. Yeah, it was really good. I don't know the original, so I can't compare. On the Avi Lean On Me reaction from a while back, Carolina Kukakovic or Kuchakovic, not sure. Again, I'm butchering these. I am so sorry. Beautiful as always. Great reaction. Thank you. Please, if you can react to Change of the Rise, an original from Avi. I hope to. I don't think that was on his Ariel and the Sequoias debut EP, Sage and Stone. I reacted to that one. I haven't released it on Patreon yet. And the 2 songs I was going to put on YouTube off of that are currently demonetized. One of them's an appeal, and we may not be able to put those up. I don't know, but I'm definitely planning on try to check out all of Avi's solo material. And that wraps it up. I hope everybody enjoyed that. I appreciate you watching this. And if you're getting to the point where you don't want to listen to this, where you're not enjoying this, let me know, because if I'm sitting here making content for myself, I'm just wasting my time, because without an audience there to receive this and enjoy it, there's no point in me really doing this. So I appreciate everybody watching this, particularly if you watched it all the way through. Let's see, we're at 30 minutes, came in a little short of this week. We're probably going to slim down the comments even more next week. And we've got Home Free, Pretty Woman performance from the sing-off coming up tomorrow. Next week, we've got Jeff's new cover of The Sound of Silence on Monday. I've already filmed that. It was just absolutely exquisite. We've got some more Bruce coming up, I think. I'm not sure if I got any more recorded, but I'll be filming some next week. So stick around for that. A lot more reactions coming up, and we'll see you soon.